I have here the venerable Samyang or Rokinon 50mm T1.5 manual focus lens. And this lens, of course, was designed or was made for video work, for cinema style work. And it was one of the first low-cost prime lenses made specifically for video. Now, this is a real straightforward, basic prime lens. The housing is made out of plastic, and it does have, of course, the gears built in. And the iris is clickless. It does not click when you go between f-stops or t-stops. With rotation, we don't have a lot of rotation with this lens. It's, less than 180. I forget exactly what it is. It's also fairly stiff for a still lens. But again, made specifically for video work. So let's take a look at some of the characteristics of this lens. So looking at bokeh first, we can see when we go wide open to a T1.5, the work lights, they really bloom in the background. And we are getting kind of like that double glow on some of the lights. But let's go to a T2.8. And some of these geometric shapes, the stopboard signs, are starting to appear on our hotspots, on our lights in the background, and also on our flares. We are starting to see that. T4, definitely you can see some of the flares are definitely going geometric, as are the hotspots. 5.6, again, nothing really new here. But again, it's not as strong as some of the older still lenses. Like some of the old still lenses, when they start to go geometric, they go geometric. And this one is roundish. At least the highlight blooms stay around. But we do see some, again, some geometric patterns. And f11, it doesn't get worse at f11 or at t11. Okay. And that's bokeh with some of the background out of focus areas. Now let's look at the breathing characteristics on this lens. And we're going from far to near. It definitely breathes a little bit. You could feel that zoom in, and now we're going back to far. It's zooming out a little bit. So the lens breathes. That's not a surprise. This is probably a stills-based lens, and stills lenses, they definitely have a tendency to breathe. And on this pattern, of course, we can confirm that as you go to close focus, it's zooming in, zooming out as we go to infinity. Zooming in, close focus, and going out. So moderate breathing on this lens. And distortion is pretty minimal. I'm looking at a grid on the edit system, and the lines are straight, top and bottom, left to right. And as we can see here, the lens does flare a little bit. Of course, we got that big wash of, light, the lowering of contrast, which is a flare. And we get the orbs and the outline, the shape of the elements we see there moving around in the mid-gray. So that's flaring. So the Samyang and Rokinon series of CineDS lenses. Affordable, still-oriented manual lenses that were updated by the manufacturer for cinema use, again with the gears, and then with the markings and T-stops, no stops, or no clicks on the iris, and witness sparks on both sides of the lenses, so you get the witness sparks on the smart and dumb side of the camera. This is a series of lenses. It's probably the lens most people love to hate, and I say that from what I've seen on the street. Now, I think it's this way because, again, this was the first, or one of the very first, affordable lenses that were designed for motion work, and a lot of people bought these lenses because, at the time, there's just very little competition. You'd have to get an old lens, like an old Nikkor AI or a Canon FD lens or a Leica R, and then you'd have to cinemize it. You'd have to put gears on it. You'd have to declick the iris, and you had all the limitations of not only a still photography manual focus lens, but an old still photography manual focus lens. So, typically we went through a number of lenses to come up with a decent one for motion. So Samyang came out with these lenses, People seem to hate the fact that they're made out of plastic. That personally never bothered me. I mean, it keeps the cost lower. If it, if it thermally keeps the lens stable, I don't actually know if it does or not, but I actually don't see a problem with it because, these are not lenses that, you're going to keep through the ages as a golden special lens. What this is it solves a problem. It's just an affordable lens for us to use that really, just solves problems. And I do use these lenses, not all the time, but if the budget's really low, these will do the trick. So I actually like these lenses. I also like the Zine lenses. Now, because these lenses are so ubiquitous to motion work with lower cost lenses, and there's a whole slew of new lenses coming out, I'll probably use this lens as our standard to compare all the other lenses to that are coming out right now. And that is mostly because A, I have it, and B, so many of us are familiar with this glass. So anyway, the Samyang or Rokinon 50mm, a standard, low budget, cinema style lens, and definitely worth checking out. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.